Hello, my name is Charles Upton. This is now part 2 of this piece, which I'm calling The Challenge to the Transhumanists. And I'm reading from a book by Marty Glass called Yuga, an Anatomy of Our Fate. There it is. And the reason I'm reading from this book in relation to the transhumanists is that I claim that if anyone reads this book and understands it, they cannot be a transhumanist. It's not possible. Or if by some fluke it turns out to be possible, it could only be by an act of conscious despair, a realization that all is lost, and a deliberate embracing of destruction. And while I must allow that such a response might be possible, it can't be very common, thank God. So most likely, if anyone reads this book seriously and claims to understand it, and is still a transhumanist, I will have to counter that, well, I don't believe you really do understand it. That's my view anyway. So, we'll read on. I'm giving you a little taste of this. It's, how many pages? 330 pages. And, of course, you can get it through Amazon. I would just say, if there's any book that actually, unbelievably, as a book, can be the keynote of this time to talk about basically what we face now as a human race, it is this book. How Marty did it, I will never know. I guess he did it because he's basically dead to this world. If he were still identified with this world, if he had hopes in relationship to it, he certainly has love in relationship to it, but not hope. And if it was real to him in an ultimate sense, he could never have seen it this clearly. This is what he says in this book. Basically, he gives an incredible, profound, heart-wrenching, and very touching analysis of the destruction that we have wrought for ourselves and what we all face in this time. And then, periodically, he says, but understand, this isn't really happening. This is Maya. This is not the world of reality. This is the world of dreams. And yet, he does not take the out saying this is the world of dreams, therefore the suffering that sentient beings go through in this world is not real. It's not real in the wonderful sense, in the sense of the greatest news you could ever hear. It's not real. But it doesn't mean it isn't happening. It doesn't mean that people aren't suffering. So that's a very rare achievement. Now, an earlier paragraph, a couple of earlier paragraphs, one quoted, one by Marty, we're talking about our plight and what might attract us to transhumanism. And as I would say, basically we've been so hurt, so damaged, so wounded, that we, instead of facing what has happened to us, which is beyond our capacity, we've opted for simply going with what is in the process of destroying us, worshiping at the feet of our own destroyers. This is what we do because we can't imagine actually going back and feeling what has been done to us and what we've done to ourselves. That would be just too much to take. Somewhere in here, Marty he's got some of his own poems. He has a poem which has a line, we're still human, but we lead inhuman lives. And that's true. And if our lives become inhuman enough, then the fact that we are still human becomes an irritation, a liability, perhaps a great vulnerability, a key to doom we're actually still human. So, and a terrible division in our reality, the division between who we really are and the totality of our lives, that's insupportable. So once that division appears, which in many cases for many of us it has, we can either say, well, I will be human, I will stay human, that's my my assigned role and also my chosen role, and that's what I will do, and whatever inhumanity that has entered my life, well, I will suffer it, but I won't be fooled by it. The other possible response is to say, well, if our lives are inhuman, why don't we become inhuman too? That way, we will be, we'll reach a kind of integrity. People can actually think this way. Partial alienation is very painful and very, irritating and sad, and so what we need is total alienation. Unfortunately, total alienation is not possible. We're always partly human. We always have shreds of humanity, no matter how far we sink into the abyss. Anyway, Marty talked about that, but now he's reminding us what it is to be human here. He says, love of truth, love of depth, love of life, love of nature, love of humanity, awareness of the living, intangible, infinite richness, the secret, the mystery beneath the surface of every human moment and encounter, and the knowledge that this richness is the substance of our humanity, the substance of our lives, the essence of joy, love of the mind, of living consciousness, of intelligence and language, of the human qualities and attributes, virtue, respect, insight, devotion, self-mastery, forgiveness, forbearance, empathy, kindness, sacrifice, concern, nobility, integrity of motive, all of them. Love, in other words, of the specifically human, knowledge of what is authentically human, conscious joy in being human, and radiant certitude that human existence is miraculous, of infinite significance, that we are truly made in the image of divinity and are truly the center of a universe that is divine. But if we can't have that, if we're really going to be denied this wonderful treasure that Marty has talked about, because how can anyone really have that, really be that? We say, too many of us nowadays. We could never really. That's more than, don't hurt me, don't tease me by showing me this beautiful thing that I can never have. No, I don't want it. We don't want it. We reject it. We can't have it anyway, and so we never really wanted it, and so it isn't beautiful, and it isn't true. And there is no truth to humanity. There is no meaning to our lives. So this is the doorway to the transhuman disaster. So I'm going to end this section, this piece, with 3 short sections from Yuga and 2 sections from a book I wrote called The Wars of Love and Other Poems. This is from Yuga. Now at last there is no one but us, no creator, no creation, nothing to worship, nothing beyond us, nothing containing us, nothing within us but tissues, organs, and bones, nothing we must flow with or submit to or accept with patient serenity as our appointed dispensation. We create ourselves now. We create ourselves now. We are our history, and history is what we make, our own and the earth's as well. We determine where and whether the rivers will flow, the composition of the oceans and the atmosphere, the length of the seasons, the population of all creatures, their survival or extinction, the temperature of the planet, the wavelengths of sunlight. We are power. Our final state of being is power. Power and terror. We don't know what will become of our children, we who live in the Kali Yuga. And we don't know what will become of the world, the earth. We wish the best for them, but we don't know what that would mean. And we know that we don't know. We want them to be happy in their lives because we love them. but we feel as they do that they have already entered the last few hours of a ravaged and desecrated planet upon which the human race has become a cancer. We survey a scene unprecedented by definition. All our thoughts are of the unknown and unknowable future. We stare into the darkness as if mesmerized by a wondering dread. We are reduced to the embodiment of one question: what will become of us? Will we survive? Historical humanity, eternal humanity. The second contains the first within it, but as it really is, a dream. Allegiance to historical humanity, to posterity, and allegiance to eternal humanity, to the light. The second contains the first within it, but as it really is, as witness to the intention, fidelity to the truth, obedience to the law. An end in itself, achieving nothing durable because there is nothing durable in this world. The Buddha taught compassion, loving kindness, sympathy, and impartiality, the four illimitable sublime moods, knowing full well that there is no one to bestow them on and no one to bestow them. The realities are in heaven. In this world, there are shadows. Now for my book, it's called The Wars of Love and Other Poems. Who will write the history of the post-human age, the days we occupy when human flesh was only an unsettled memory nagging the archives? Who will name the thing that so profoundly terrified us that we begged to be made machines of to hide from the face of it? I will. It was love. There is no home for us now, say the sons of Hawking, the wise of this world, but endless space, the dark mother. We are contained in her, sunk in black, swarming emptiness. Can't you feel it? Our conceptual universe, finite yet unbounded now, like the womb is, which means that we haven't even been born yet. We are still inside her, held within invisible walls of cosmos. We wander down roads of our mother through gales of energy, past galaxies of stars, longing with the deepest powers of matter itself to break the light barrier, to reverse the flow of time. We are groping, stumbling back to our childhood in vast machines, into the black hole, the concentrated hunger of space, back, before birth, before space-time unfolded its flower into a bardo of buzzing energy. Kali, Kali. The scythe reaps, the seed heads fall, the harvest barn is hidden everywhere in the fire, and the wedding smoke rises, perfume of all love and murder, heroism, quiet, secret work in the caverns of the heart, pounding the stone doors of those sacrificial priests who desecrate the human form to build the regime of Antichrist, gods of the New World Order, powers of frigid glamour and insane false hope and numb despair. Pour fire against their sanctuary, against the dragon, against the tower. Glyphs of destiny strung like nets through the charged structure of the thunderhead weave lightning into working knowledge, where the living truth sits mounted and armed in the region of the air, on the borders of the next world, now shining into this one, in dream and vision more solid than a rock in the hand, to overturn their altars those blissful devotees, worshippers of despair incarnate, to whom love is a torturing fire. At the precise point where their pain and loss are most deeply denied, in the mouth of their wisest wound, these words are engraved, white fire cut on black fire on the skeletal plasm of their nerves, and love is what we wish them. But how can they accept such a gift from the likes of us? How can they even know their need? They are inheritors of the whole world. We are nothing but inheritors of the earth.